his last name. I'm not really sure what's his first name, but he is the most obese guy in the world. He weighs about like 1,300 pounds, which is really bad. So I'm going to inform you about like the causes, consequences, and certain ways you can prevent obesity. Today, the American society has become an obesogenic, I guess you can say. Like, it's characterized by the environment and like that promote increased food intake, non-healthful foods, and people who are inactive. That being said, like poor lifestyle choices, the environment itself, and emotional factors are some causes of obesity in America. As a poor lifestyle, people choose to eat like greasy hamburgers and pizza over fresh produce and like wholesome fiber, which is really good for you. And then in our society, Americans are offered like oversized food portions. Like at McDonald's, when you order something, they ask you if you'd like to supersize it. And I guess if you're hungry, you'd say yes. And then we are also surrounded by like restaurants, a lot of fast food places like Taco Bell, Del Taco, and all those other places, and like supermarkets that that vary what they sell, or they have like little access to healthy foods, or they're just too expensive to afford for certain people. Like food advertising, like the colors red and yellow supposedly make you hungry, I guess. Like that they like reach their goal into swaying Americans to buy their high-calorie foods, which Americans do because they're more cheaper for them and it's more affordable for them to eat. Like, and then emotional factors such as depression, it follows obesity to a social stigma and get people in a cycle of like binging, and like people usually tend to eat more than they should when they're like depressed or sad, angry, or stressed and stuff like that. Obesity is an epidemic disease that threatens to inundate healthcare by increasing the incidence of premature death, heart disease, and reproductive complications. The risk of death rises with increasing weight, as an estimated of 300,000 people die per year could be attributable to obesity in America. And then people who are obese have a 50 to 100% risk of premature death from like all causes and stuff like that. And then overweight people are more likely to have like high blood pressure and all that stuff, which is a major risk to heart disease. And with heart disease, like being overweight could contribute to chest pain and sudden death without any symptoms or signs like that you're gonna die. And then and as for women who are obese and women who and that they are pregnant, they increase their risk of death for the baby and themselves. And then they are also likely to have problems with labor and delivery, and they also increase the risk of birth defects for the baby as well. Recognizing symptoms of a problem before it sparingly becomes a problem defined as a prevention. And these are some ways you can prevent obesity happening. Is if you eat healthy, you stay active, which staying active is should be your first priority in your life, because you wouldn't want to be obese and all of a sudden die without knowing it. Teaching people how to eat healthy too, like getting their fiber, eating meats, bread, and all that, and vegetables and stuff should be an everyday occurrence where you have to where you consume 2,000 calories a day. Like that's what the FDA recommends for you. And even though America is one of the richest, most progressive countries in the world, we are also one of the fattest countries in the world. And there are about 190 billion people, billion Americans who are obese or overweight. And that's like, I guess, I don't remember if it's 2/3, I'm not really sure. And of course, it's not easy to go against the strong current of unhealthy society, but it's a necessity. People are too busy to take the time to stay home and eat just a regular home-cooked meal. Rather than, they choose to order pizza where it comes within like 30 minutes and they're full from that. I think that, I think people should know how to balance their diet and not eat too much fried food or not eat too much outside of their home, because a home-cooked meal, it saves you a lot of money compared to you going out every single day buying fast food like places, like going to places and stuff like that. And that being said, I think Americans and other people around the world need to balance their eating habits and only eat when they're hungry, not because they're bored or anything like that. Like, people lose control over eating when they're like depressed and stuff. So yeah.
Alexandra, are you here?
Yeah.
All right, let's hear it. What'd you think?
I thought it was good. You had a lot of information, and you said a lot, but I think it could work a little more organization and transitioning through the different rights and topics we have. And the visual age is a little bigger. But other than that, those two things.
Thanks.
All right, hang on just a second. All right, well, you've got the visual in your attention device, and then that's the only thing that you've got that helps. Where are you? I know you're up there somewhere. There. and then you don't have anything else in the rest of the speech, and I think that as a consequence, you're missing an opportunity. You've got, for instance, some statistical information that comes up toward the end of the speech that you made reference to. I think you got the number wrong, 190 million, not billion. There aren't that many people. 190 billion would be a lot of people. But 190 million, and then you talked about how it's 2/3 of the population, for instance. You got that statistic someplace? That's easy to put into a pie chart and show, here's the percentage of the population that is obese technically. By the way, we could also have a nice definition of what obese means. All right, give us the percentage of body weight that you have to be over the standard for somebody's height and age that would make them obese, or body mass index, or some kind of information that tells us those things. I have to agree with Alexandra that the main issue in the speech is the organization. You've got a lot of information in the speech, but it seems like there's not really a particular pattern that you're going through. Sometimes we're talking about fast food, then we're talking about the risks that are associated with eating this kind of food. Then we're talking about why we ought to avoid fast food again. Then we're talking about cost issues. And it just seems like there's not really a very strong pattern for putting that information together. So if you were doing this speech again, what I'd say is take out every piece of information and put it onto maybe a separate note card or something like that, and then regroup them all and say, is this a category that fits here? Let's talk about all of these things are the risks of being obese. Let's talk about that first. All of these are the sources of obesity. Let's make that a separate section. All of these are the alternatives that are available to people. Let's put that in our third section, because that'll be kind of the end point, give people a little bit something that they could do, and then it would fit together a little bit more, as opposed to jumping back and forth. At one point, there's a reference to red and yellow and how that's encouraging people to eat, and I'm going, huh? What's that got to do? It just seems like it's out of context. There's no reason that it's in that particular section and how it's connected to your speech, and you need to get that material together. All right. Thank you.